Right, hello everybody, and this one is a quick update. Last week, myself and Mitch, we streamed I guess you say like a sort of initial impressions of Rupert Lowe's Restore Britain. Mm. Um, and gave our initial thoughts on that, and you can watch that to get my view. Hasn't really changed. Um, But I thought I'd give sort of an update here because I've had a few responses to this. It's largely been positive. My initial take, and I still stand by it. We have to be cautious. Um, you know, Overall though, it is just you know, it's not something which I would say um, is going to be inherently bad for what our side wants. And I think some have taken it as me just going, "Oh, don't get involved with it because of Susan Halls or what have you," and that wasn't what I was getting at. Um, in my mind, um, you know, there's going to be, I believe, there'll be conflict between people on our side of things, like Morgoth and what have you, and with the centre right types who are just joining, the latest thing. They jump from one bandwagon to the next. But overall, I am positive about what's been put out there, and I've joined. I've officially joined. I paid the £20. Um, and listen, it's if I don't uh, if I don't want to continue with, I won't renew it. Um, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, they're still building up. I got an email explaining that everything's been still built up on the local level, on the national level, with this political movement, Restore Britain. So we'll have to wait and see. But at its core, I think it's just positive that Rupert Lowe here is not, you know, saying, "Oh, these silly online people who've had, influence uh, among, you know." The po- individual politicians, some political parties. You think about how Trump used media, podcasters and what have you before the election as an example. So I think for our side, and bear in mind, I believe Britain has better quality than America when it comes to that. I think it's a positive thing that the fusion of the real world and the online world, and dragging, you know, maybe it's dragging the real world into the online world is the future, but who knows? Yeah, I've joined, and as I say, I'm pretty happy thus far. We'll wait to see what happens. Um, but I still stand by my statement that I will not tolerate. For me, day by day, week by week, um, for preserving Britain and for the radical change that is needed is slowly it's slowly fading. Um, and this isn't about politics. This isn't about it. This is just, I mean, at this point, it's just basic survival. This is just basic sanity, basic survival of the country and its people. Um, Maybe this would be fall for it again award, but I think with the people who are involved, this might actually help, garner the right, and one of the just sorry, because it's been busy days thus far, so I've just done this. This is pre-recording, but one of the problems, and this is something that you will constantly hear, and this has all been compared to, that old Monty Python, um, uh, Life of Brian, sketch, the People's Judean Front and the Judean Front. Well, you basically have the right has like so many fractured parties, little fiefdoms here and there, little movements here and there, and there is no nexus, and it's very difficult because people on the right are highly disagreeable. Hate to say it, but incredibly narcissistic. I'm guilty of being on that wavelength. I mean, incredibly narcissistic. And also, one of the biggest problems is filled with con artists and shysters. I mean, I would say the right probably has more con artists than the left. I mean, the left are ideological nutters, but you know, I think many of them are, believe their own crap. People on those on like sort of the centre right sort of space, or centre right liberal types, are just total con artists. You have Tommy, who is or TR, Stephen Yaxi Lennon, or however you want to refer to him as. He has a following, but his following is based on the predication of another state in the Middle East, on the support of that state. It's all, he doesn't really represent the nation, its people, its working class, even no matter how many people like to claim so. He takes credit for breaking stories which were broken years in advance by other political groups, like in the grooming gangs, for example. At the end of the day, he has his loyalties elsewhere, and it isn't Britain. And then you take the Conservatives, the false containments, the Connor Tomlinsons of this world, and then you have the endless debate slop. And when you when you sort of categorize all these groups, usually it just goes down into personal advancement, mindless engagement. There's nothing happening. And then you have some, what I tend to do, and I'm very selective now. I follow people like Alexander Adams. I follow sort of the right wing art scene. I follow uh, writers, literacy accounts online that are sort of right wing within our network. I try and follow all these people because it's a way of avoiding the noise, the endless noise. And a few of those have joined or shown interest in this. And, as someone who's been banging on for how many years that something has to change, but it can't be the slop boomer crap of Farage, or even that advanced Britain stuff, which is just under Ben Habib, which is just Sivnat's wishy-washy, meaningless phrases. So it would be really hypocritical of me if I didn't, jump at the chance of where people who I'm aligned to are getting involved with this or taking advantage of this, that we have an MP in Parliament. And so I've joined up, and I hope to take advantage of all the events, all the opportunities that will come with it. And I hope people who also join up will do that this won't just become like another sort of ghost account or ghost project, which doesn't really go anywhere. I think the fact we have a Rupert Lowe in Parliament, and maybe that James Murdoch who left the Reform Party, may get involved, so we may have two. Who knows? The apparently the Conservative councillors and MPs in there. We'll have to watch them. I still say, there has to be a degree of, curtailing the centre right, and within this, if I can join, one of my big things is going to be sort of advocating for curtailing that lot, because that lot were responsible for containing culture and containing the Blairite, progressive decline of this country. They're the ones who have allowed mass open border and rapid demographic change in this country that have changed the social fabric. So we have to watch them. We did it their way for the last 30, 40, 50 years, and this is where it's got us. This can't be allowed to be, this should not be allowed to be used by the Tory party to revamp itself. It will be, though. I fear that may be the case, that Tory politicians will use this as a method to re-energise themselves, because when it comes down to it, Farage and his band around him, he doesn't surround himself with competent people because of his own ego and narcissism, which means that he can only be the sole leader, the sole revolutionary figure in the movement. And on top of that, he gets bored. He probably won't be, there's serious doubt, I would say, that he may even be around to be leading the party, by the time next general election. He may have, buggered off and, started like another, career, another gig somewhere else. And so, what I say to people who are joined or thinking of joining, we have to remember that as individuals, we can, maybe it'd be better to form a group or groups within as a vanguard to curtail those on the centre right who would use this project and this, desperate need to preserve Britain as a way of further containment and further betrayals in the future. Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. The Tories do it for free to this country and its people. These people, they do it for free. They get shit in the media. I mean, even today, the Tories get the Tory politicians get treated like the shit on the shoes in the media. They get treated and shit in the shoes by the public in at large. I can't see any sort of positive gigs that come from this. I mean, they are just the establishment punching bag, and they, that's where they want to sit themselves. If I think, and I think maybe Rupert would agree with this, I don't think this should be a movement for people who are, who view themselves as professional losers. People will be saying some stuff which will be radical, which will be many Tories will feel, they'll get into their sort of guilt, like, oh, we shouldn't go that far. That's a bit extreme. No, they either get with the program or get out. Get with the reality of where Britain is now. It isn't 1990s Britain. This isn't 1980s. Thatcher is long dead. Thatcherism is long dead. Those people from that era are dead or out of the picture now, one way or other. So yeah, but I'm this is where I am at the moment, and I'm looking forward to joining and seeing what happens. And I'll thank Iron Duke now for reading out my statement on the previous Splendid Isolations, because I wasn't available on that weekend, but I'm happy that he got the message, my response out there, because what was quite interesting is my last stream with Mitch that actually garnered quite a number of engagement and views, and so obviously it's very topical. A lot of people saw this and saw that momentum behind it and wanted to see listen to some opinions. And I don't know Charlie Downs particularly well. He says the right stuff. He's he's involving himself with people on our side. So I don't know him. But if he if if the restore I mean, from what I would say, my initial reactions thus far with like bringing back the death penalty, removing illegal immigrants, criminals, shutting down foreign slaughter practices, really just uprooting. In my mind, this is what a real country does. We have we're a distinct group, we're a distinct society and distinct civilization and country, and this is part of a real country. This is how a real country operates. I've never been a fan of people on the right that would say, oh yeah, well in Saudi Arabia or Iran, you would be LGBT people would be hung in the streets, or if you like profess atheism, you would go to prison or whatever. That's how those countries operate, because that's real countries. They aren't operated as a corporation or an incorporated limited company. This is how real countries operate. So, no, I'm more than pleased with what's been coming out thus far. And they'll be pushing people in the Tories, and it's about getting that sort of pressure going. It could be that if Reform, if Farage does stick it to the next general election, Reform will get enough MPs, but those MPs will be, Restore Britain acolyte types. So Farage, his ego, he would have a difficulty if he say was to win 125 seats for the majority. He would find it difficult to do his own usual behaviour, because he would be removed as the head of his own party to begin with. Though the structure of the Reform Party is up for debate, but that could be another option. Who knows? But or Rupert taking over the Tory Party, which is AA's option. Not sure about that. How that one, if that's realistic, that would be allowed to happen. But anyway, thank you for watching. This will go out. I mean, it's Thursday while I'm recording, so this will probably go out tomorrow on Friday. Thank you all for just checking in here. Keep it a short recording, and I will see you all next time.